You're not going to believe what just happened. Right now, as you're watching this video, 10 firearms that were either banned, heavily restricted, or stuck in endless legal battles are suddenly cleared for legal ownership across all 50 states. We're not talking about some minor policy tweak or a small adjustment to existing laws. This is a massive, game-changing decision that has gun owners across America absolutely losing their minds with excitement, while gun control advocates are in full-blown panic mode trying to figure out how to respond. For years, decades, even millions of law-abiding Americans have been told they can't own certain guns based on where they live, what state they're in, or what arbitrary features those firearms have. One day you're legal, the next day you cross a state line, and suddenly you're a felon. It's been chaos, confusion, and frustration for anyone who actually cares about their Second Amendment rights. But Trump just cut through all of that with one decisive move, and the implications are absolutely staggering. We're talking about firearms that have been on wish lists, locked behind legal red tape, and deemed too dangerous by politicians who've never even held one. Now they're fair game, nationwide, no exceptions. Whether you're a die-hard gun enthusiast who's been following every legal battle for years, or you're just someone who believes in constitutional rights and personal freedom, what's happening right now is going to affect you. The question everyone's asking is, what are these 10 guns? Why were they restricted in the first place? And what does this actually mean for your rights moving forward? Stay with me because the details are wild and you need to hear every single one of them. But before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you're someone who values your Second Amendment rights, or if you just want to stay informed about what's really happening in this country, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button right now. All right, let's get into it. So here's the big picture. Trump just signed an executive order that effectively clears 10 specific firearms for legal ownership and use across all 50 states. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, aren't guns already legal? Well, yes and no. The truth is, the American gun landscape has been a patchwork of confusing, contradictory, and often politically motivated restrictions for decades. What's legal in Texas might get you thrown in jail in California. What you can buy in Florida might be completely off-limits in New York. It's been a nightmare for law-abiding gun owners who just want to exercise their constitutional rights without accidentally becoming criminals. And that's exactly what this new order aims to fix. The 10 guns on this list aren't just random firearms pulled out of a hat. These are weapons that have been caught in the crossfire of legal battles, state bans, and federal regulations for years. We're talking about popular models that millions of Americans have wanted to own but couldn't because of where they lived. Some of these guns were banned because of cosmetic features that have nothing to do with how deadly they actually are. Others were restricted because of outdated laws that never made sense to begin with. And now, with one bold stroke of the pen, Trump has said enough is enough. These guns are no longer in legal limbo. They're cleared. They're legal. And gun owners are rejoicing. So what makes this such a big deal? Well, think about it this way. For years, anti-gun politicians have chipped away at Second Amendment rights piece by piece, state by state, law by law. They've used fear, misinformation, and tragedy to push through restrictions that don't actually make anyone safer, but do make it harder for good people to defend themselves. They've demonized certain guns based on how they look rather than how they function. They've created arbitrary lists of banned features that turn legal firearms into illegal ones overnight. And worst of all, they've made it so confusing that even responsible gun owners can accidentally break the law without knowing it. This executive order cuts through all of that noise and sends a clear message: your rights are being restored, and the government isn't going to keep treating you like a criminal for wanting to protect yourself and your family. Now let's talk about what this means on a practical level. For starters, gun stores across the country are about to see a massive surge in demand. People who have been waiting for years to legally own certain firearms are finally going to be able to walk into a shop and buy them without worrying about state restrictions. Manufacturers are going to ramp up production. The entire industry is going to experience a boom. But more importantly, this is about freedom. It's about the principle that depending on which side of a state border you're standing on. It's about the idea that law-abiding citizens should have access to the tools they need to defend themselves, their homes, and their loved ones without the government standing in their way. Of course, not everyone is celebrating. Gun control advocates are furious, calling this move reckless and dangerous. They're arguing that these firearms pose a threat to public safety and that removing restrictions will lead to more violence. But here's what they're not telling you. The vast majority of gun violence in this country isn't committed by legal gun owners using legally purchased firearms. It's committed by criminals who don't follow the law in the first place. So when you ban or restrict certain guns for law-abiding citizens, you're not stopping crime. You're just disarming the good guys while the bad guys keep doing what they've always done. That's why this decision is so important. It's not about making it easier for criminals to get guns. It's about making it possible for responsible Americans to exercise their rights without jumping through endless hoops and navigating a legal minefield. Another thing to consider is the ripple effect this will have across the country. For years, states with strict gun control laws have been able to point to federal regulations as justification for their own restrictions. But now that Trump has cleared these firearms at the federal level, those state arguments start to fall apart. Legal challenges are going to start popping up left and right. Gun owners in restrictive states are going to push back harder than ever. And the momentum is clearly shifting in favor of Second Amendment rights. This isn't just about 10 guns. It's about the broader fight for freedom and the recognition that the Constitution means what it says. And let's not forget the symbolic power of this move. Trump has always positioned himself as a champion of gun rights, and this executive order proves he's willing to back that up with action. It sends a message to his supporters that he's fighting for them, even in the face of fierce opposition. It also sends a message to his critics that he's not going to be bullied into compromising on constitutional principles. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that this is a bold, decisive move that's going to have lasting consequences. So where do we go from here? Well, expect to see a lot of legal battles in the coming months. Expect to see politicians on both sides of the aisle using this issue to rally their bases. Expect to see passionate debates about what this means for public safety, personal freedom, and the future of the Second Amendment. But most importantly, expect to see millions of Americans exercising their newly restored rights with pride and responsibility. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is really about, giving people back the freedom that was always supposed to be theirs in the first place. This is a watershed moment in the ongoing fight for gun rights in America. It's a reminder that when enough people stand up and demand their constitutional freedoms be respected, change can happen. It's proof that the Second Amendment isn't just words on an old piece of paper. It's a living, breathing right that still matters in the 21st century. And it's a signal that the tide is turning, that after years of restrictions and regulations and political games, gun owners are finally starting to win some major victories. So what do you think about all of this? Are you excited about the new access to these 10 firearms? Do you think this is a step in the right direction for Second Amendment rights? Or do you have concerns about the potential impact? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear what you have to say. And if you found this video informative, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Share this with your friends, your family, anyone who cares about their rights and wants to stay informed. Because the conversation doesn't end here. It's only just beginning. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.